Well, I'm so excited to be having a chat with beautiful Nicole Hamilton today about her incredible journey and what you're doing in the world. How are you, Nicole?
I'm excited to be here. I saw you doing these interviews. I was like, hey, I need to be on this.
I know. I wish I could interview everyone all at once, but I'll slowly be getting through all of the
Of
superstars
course.
we have in our world. For those who haven't met you before, you've been in our world for longer than I have. You've known Paul longer than I have, actually. Let everyone know who you are and what you're doing in the world right now.
Okay, well, I've branded myself Nic the Kids Coach. So I've been in Paul's world for over 10 years now. And um, literally the modalities and the learnings that I had back on a personal level saved my life. And we can go into that if you want me to. But what profoundly happened is I just continued to keep studying, and I worked out that this work needs to be shared and gifted to children. So I make all the modalities and all the lessons, all things, and I download them into games for kids. I bring personal development to children, to families, and I call myself the kids coach, and it's the best place to play. It really resonates. I've been in the trenches. I've done the hard yards and the testimonials and the proof is in the work that I do, and I love it. I work with an adult, cool, love it. When a kid picks me, I cry, my whole nervous system. I just know that this is what I'm, meant to have done and do, continue to do. So yeah, I'm the kids coach and I bring that holistic healing to kids.
When you said when a kid picks me,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what are some of the other experiences kids have maybe had when their parents have tried to get them support or help, and what's different about you?
Yeah, so oh, tingles. When a child feels disempowered, they get dragged, they get maybe told by education they're not achieving, they're not doing the right thing, they're wrong, they're naughty. Let's go to a psychologist, and I'm not disregarding psychologists because there's some beautiful ones out there. They get very the rapport's not there. They don't want to be there. And so with me, I'm, bright, I'm crazy. I introduce myself. I'm a coach, so I can talk about my own life experiences. I'm not governed by a professional body. So I'm actually just right and raw and inspiration in my own right. And I tell them about me and I give them the choice. It's part of my own modality of connect, empower, play, grow. So the connect and empower, I connect with them and I let them choose me. I never work with a kid, even if a parent really wants me to, unless a child picks me. And when they pick me, doesn't matter if the NDIS or whether the parent's paying, I've got their yes, and we can do anything in a session, and then it's wide open. And there's been once or twice where I've recommended for a child to work with somebody else because I felt like the it would be better for them to work with them. But I give that choice, and 100% of the time I say, look, you tell mum later or dad or whoever if you want to work with me. They always pick me because they've never been given that choice. Like,
Yeah.
and that's so powerful in this work. And when they pick me, like I said, that money makes the world go round. When they pick me, I cry. Like it's just that's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, and you know that they're they're desiring the work then with you, and it's working with you, not like, oh, you're going to tell me what I have to do. And that must just be such a different experience for the children. So yeah, that's giving me chills too. And what have you really been noticing? Because you've been doing this work. I know you have been working with adults for almost 10 years with this kind of work since studying the hypnotherapy and everything and going through your personal journey. But what have you really been noticing the last few years? And tell us a bit more as well about your kids coach certification that you've built.
Mm. So what I noticed is that kids get it very quickly. It's an energy. I did go, with my talents and everything else, I did go work in disability in the education system and I saw the flaws. I see these kids falling through the cracks. My mum a bear myself, so I've got kids that I advocate for. And every child is different, but what's happening in the systems that we have are not changing. And we need to, recognize that these beautiful little humans are just that, and that they have the emotions and the stuff that we go through. And we weren't raised like that. We were like, off you go be a kid, out you go, worry about it later. Those throwaway comments have big impacts on who we become as an adult and suppressing our emotions and who we are. And so the more I did the work on myself, the more I was like, no brainer, bring it to my kids, bring it to the other kids. Let's bring it there. And the difference in the articulation and the regulation and the integrated humans in the circles that I'm in with the personal development groups, the children that are growing up carefree and happy and, you know, in nature and learning all these things that make you the best human you can be is literally shifting the world one child at a time. It brings harmony into homes. Parents have better relationships, not only with their kids, but with their partners, because when you have beautiful, integrated, happy children, the stress is not as much on the parent, you know.
Yeah.
It does go into family therapy, but it's a beautiful place to play in.
I was going to ask you about that, you know, because it's sometimes what we see in terms of patterns is that the parents are trying to get the children, quote unquote, fixed or normal, or can't they just be easier to manage? And sometimes those traits in a child aren't ideal traits in an adult.
Right.
An adult that's quiet and easy to be managed is an adult that's lost its spirit sometimes, you know. So the things that we want in terms of having children that are easy to manage, there's sometimes, you know, not always context appropriate as well. But what does it then transform for the parents, seeing the children becoming more carefree and more comfortable in themselves? That must have a ripple effect. As you mentioned, it turns into family therapy.
It does turn into family therapy. It's beautiful, because what I love to do is teach a child something, like, you know, play a game, teach them, and then at the end of the session, so I hold kids very like in their own little bubble, and I love them, and I say that this, you know, everything we do is confidential, because it is, but what I will ask you is, if we have a win in the session or something that's really beautiful that we want to share, I'll ask your permission. And so what happens is then the child gets to share with the parent their learning, their growth, their thing. And then normally I'll try and get them to then show them and teach that modality, whether it's a breath work or a inner child or a timeline or whatever the modality is, or a positive anchoring. I'm like, how are we going to say that to mum? What words are we going to use? And I say mum because 90% of the time it's mums, but I do mean mums, carers, dads, whoever wants the help. Yeah. But what happens is the children become the little coaches and therapists themselves, and they bring it home to their siblings and to their parents and to whatever else.
That's awesome.
However, on the other side, I'm also super confident in the work that I do with love and leadership to call the parents on their shit too. Yeah. So, you know, if they're bringing me with a child to fix, like you just said, kids having meltdowns, a kid's aggressive, let's have a look at you. Yeah. Let's work on the both. So it does become, you know, family therapy as well, to teach the skills that I didn't know what I didn't know. I'm a far better mother, wife, the rest, from doing the work that I do, and I continue to do so. And so everything I learn, I teach the kids, teach the parents, and that becomes the fun in it as well. So
there's only one Nic, and so you've built your kids coach certification. Talk more about that.
So I just kind of got my name, and I think it's Paul's fault, to be honest, because he literally gave me a kid client to start with. I was taking it home to my boys, and he said to me, go work with this particular person. And I was like, what am I doing? And I literally, I used to say it to Abs all the time, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got out the way and I used the modalities that I had for kids, and I got so busy, like I just got so busy. And I was like working with my own coach, and he's like, what lights you up? You're so skilled. And I was like, working with kids. He's like, that's your modality. Go make it one. So fast, you know, rewind back 2.5 years ago, I sat there and created what I was continually teaching children and parents into a thing. And I was like, I'm calling in coaches now to do this with kids. Like everything that I've learned became a game. So I've created my own resources and my own things. And also we live in a beautiful Australia here where we can leverage NDIS. Yeah. So we can use that as, you know, 81% of coaches fail. So why are we not bringing this beautiful, like, number one, because it's my passion, but bring it to kids. It also is a nuanced area. Parents will find money for their kids before they find it for themselves, but it does end up in family therapy. So I've developed my own certification where I call us kids coaches. Why not? We've got business coaches, you know, sex coaches. We've got, you know, coaches for everything in every spectrum. Why not kids? Yeah. So I've got 100 now. 100 kids coaches that right across Australia that I've coached into this business, into this world.
Congratulations. That ripple effect is huge. And I know Paul and I, we don't have children yet. And anytime someone in our community studies with us and they ask us, you know, who's someone that I could send my child to that could help with this sort of stuff, and who's good at working with kids, your name is the first one that comes up time and time again. And I think the fact that now there's 100 you know, people that have got those tools and skills that you have developed into your modality, the ripple effect of that is just incredible in terms of what that's doing for the next wave of the next generations as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you for, you know, shining your light and for doing this work, because yeah, you're right that you don't hear about kids coaches until you, and so it's fantastic. So now let's rewind a little bit. So you mentioned at the start of the interview that this sort of work, it really saved your life. So tell, for the listeners who don't know your story, what was life like before studying with Paul? And because we were actually the same hypnotherapy training together, the OGs, right? Well, not really, but what was life like before studying the hypnotherapy, the NLP, all of these kind of tools with us?
Yeah, so I was a really unhappy human. I was a drug addict, and I had even tried a lot of conscious therapies. I'd been to drug and alcohol counseling, I'd been to the doctors, I'd been to psychologists, and none of it worked. And so I went to one of Paul's OG students, Luke.
Yeah.
Found beautiful human. And the one session that I had with him was so goddamn profound, and it helped me get sober. And I just, I was literally losing my mind and wanted to die. It was a very dark hole. And I got the strength and that personal development, that energetic work, that hypnotic granting, stuck with me. And fast forward a little bit after that, I was like, I need to meet this Paul that taught Luke. And I kind of interviewed him too. And I was like, all right, this is the guy I want to learn from. Because I went and studied with him other places. And I was like, nah, wasn't the same. It was scripted. It wasn't intuitive. It wasn't what I wanted. And I met Paul and obviously fell in love because I've done all of your studies. I met you there as well. We became beautiful friends, which I love, and inspiration to me as well to see the work that you do. And I just continued to grow, and I kept coming back to you guys. And through all of that, that personal development, changed my life. I divorced and married a wife and worked out my happiness and have a beautiful third child now, and continue to embody the work and come back to the coaching world. And that just led to here, through that whole big journey, that last 10 years. It's been a crazy 10 years, but a super blessed 10 years. So many learnings, so much growth, so much happiness, and a lot of fucking challenges too.
Absolutely. That's okay. It's real. It's honest. So what would you say to that Nic 10 or 11 years ago, who was in that really tough place, about where you're at right now? What advice would you give her to follow this path?
She always knew that there was more. Like she had that yearning. So I'd say to her, follow your gut, like follow it. You know that there's more to this. Keep and that there is no shame in your addiction. There's no shame in your mental health. Keep being vulnerable and asking for help, because this is the work. People that judge you will judge you, but the others will not. And there is help out there. There is beautifully amazing souls that you're going to meet out there.
Yeah. I think like that, no shame, knowing that all humans, we're always just trying to find relief. And some people, they're like, they've maybe tried to get help before, it hasn't worked, and so they're like, I'm trying to find relief. And so there's no shame in trying to feel better. And once we get more resources, then we become more resourceful. And I just feel like you've just like become almost like who's almost like Xena or something. Like you've just like built
Warrior princess.
yeah, like you've just built all of these tools. Exactly. And now you've just like got all of these resources, that you've got so much that you can now share that as well. And that
took me a long time though. Like I still shun that drug addiction, Nicole, and it took me, I think, till this year to really love her. Like I felt deep shame and sorrow, and that, like, that shadow self. But I absolutely love her now. Like I really love and honor her, because she kept me safe. Like she was crafty, great liar, but she kept me safe. She had, sass and style, and she really just wanted me to mask the pain that I couldn't handle at the time. But she did keep me alive, even though it felt like I wanted to not be here, but she really did. And so anybody that's going through mental health or addiction, like, love that part of you, because it is here to keep you safe and teach you ultimately.
Absolutely. And the fact that you can share your story, I think really, it lets people know that no matter how hard a place you're in, there is a way through. And I think that's what's, so inspiring about someone like you who's embodied transformation and change and walked the hard paths and got through it and now is, doing what you're doing. So yeah, it's very cool. So what advice would you have? I know we have a lot of people who study with us that they're just kind of starting out in their coaching and they're passionate about something in particular. They're kind of finding their feet in this industry. What would be your advice for new coaches?
Mm. Don't just do a course, get a coach.
Yeah.
Continue the work. I know that you guys have your business coaching as well. 81% of coaches fail. You can have great intentions out there, but you've got to continue to show up and embody it. There's no point just doing one or thing. You actually have to walk the walk and talk the talk. So for me, my business went like this to start with. It really went up and down. I could have given up many times. I did. I went back and got other jobs, worked in education, prison, while my coaching business was growing. The moment that it turned around was the moment that I spent more money, which I probably didn't have, and got a coach and got really in integrity and alignment with who I was to make it happen. And you've got to have the courage to keep going, because you will get, it's part of the parcel. So you've got to stay true to your authentic self and to your mission, and get a coach. Get a coach. Get a coach.
I agree. I think for me, my coaching style has been a blend and hybrid of all of the courses, but all of the brilliant coaches I've invested in and worked with over the years. And I hear aspects and parts of it come through in sessions. And I think it just helps you to model and find what is your unique style and flavor. And I think the coaching role is such a eye-opener in terms of it will show you all of your stuff. I think any business owner knows that your business will reflect you and your blocks, right? But in the coaching industry, it's almost like supercharged, because all your clients will also challenge you and reflect parts of you in aspects too. So I think, as you said, like having a coach will just help you to keep those filters of perception clear and help you on that path. And then what would you say then for people who are maybe wanting to make a change? Maybe they're feeling stuck, or they're feeling like how that Nic felt 10 years ago, like there's got to be more out there, but maybe they're afraid, or maybe they've, tried some things in the past and they haven't worked. Like, what would your advice be to people who are seeking change, but they're not sure, what to do?
Yeah, I think that it's literally it's like going dress shopping or shoe shopping. You got to try on a multiple before you're really happy with that final outfit. Or even a partner, like how many partners do you go through? Or dating, how many dates do you go on before you find that person? So when you're looking, continue to look, and don't settle. So when you're looking up, find the right people that you want to study with, interview them, find the right coach, but don't give up, because I think that's the thing. Like, people go, oh, I tried it, it's not right. Well, I was given a psychologist after Jacob was born from my postnatal depression, who was a male. And I never went back and wrote on a whiteboard. And I was in my 20s and I didn't know to ask for somebody else. And now I do. Now I find those coaches and the people that I resonate with. And that's what it is. So keep asking, and you will find the right teacher for you at the right time. That's the thing. Just don't give up.
I agree. I think sometimes people ask me, like, I'll get a message from people saying, oh, who would you recommend as a coach for me? And I'm like, that's who I think, that's who I would want. It's not who you would want. Like, what you and who you need is such a different thing. So I think you're right. Like, trust that, just keep searching, keep finding. And I think it's a way also of honing your intuition yourself, is when you do find those yeses, it's proving like you can trust yourself and you can listen to those signs and signals as well.
And there's so much free stuff too. Please don't use money as an excuse. There's so many podcasts, there's so many little interviews where you can get your tidbits and la. So don't use time or money as an excuse. There is heaps of free stuff out there. Get on Spotify.
Yeah, I know. We're so lucky these days. Sometimes when people, complain about their parents or something, I say, give them a break. They didn't have all of the access to self-development on YouTube that we do, 20 or 30 years ago. They couldn't just download a lecture from Wayne Dyer and get all the insights straight away. It's, it's such a different world. It's very blessed. And, you're one of our, biggest advocates of this type of work. You send so many amazing students. I just interviewed Wes and Jess on this podcast on this interview series a couple of months ago as well, a beautiful couple that went through your Kidz coach certifications and then studied all of the levels of training with us. What is it? Why are you such an advocate of Evolve and Relaunch specifically?
Well, energetically, you and Paul are just amazing. Like, you again embody the work, and the love that you give your students is second to none. Like, you take that time. You're not about just taking everybody. Like, you really discern the clients for you guys. So that's really, really important. Secondly, I have gone and studied with other people. You know, I went away and you know, as I did, I went and studied with other people, other NLPs and other hypnotherapy courses. They're not as good. They really just aren't. They didn't tick my box. I love the fact that you guys are intuitive as well, and that, you know, you teach from the heart, which you know, it's not just a, you know, scripted. And I think that that makes for far better teachers. And so why would I not recommend, if I've studied with others where I've learnt the most from? I still hear Paul in my words. I can't get it out. And so for me, I just want to model and you know, the people that inspire me. So you guys are some of my master coaches that I highly recommend every time. So people, for me, who are learning my modality, because coaching is variable. Like, it doesn't always have to be NLP and hypno. Let's be real. Coaching is quite variable. But if they haven't done any of the work, and I see that this could be a benefit, this is the first, like the first people that I recommend to go to. Want some structure, you want to learn why your mind does the things that it does, or yeah, I recommend you guys.
Thank you so much. And I just really want to say, like, it's so cool to see you doing your thing and shining your light and having such an amazing ripple effect in the world. And we will put details below of how to get in touch with Nic and details about her Kidz coaching certifications as well. And you offer those worldwide now, don't you?
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah.
And I also, you know, again, you don't have to work with me. I have free programs as well, and I also have 100 coaches as well. That it's not always about the Nicole show that I say. You know, it really is about the kids. So wealth of knowledge as well. Ask any questions, because I'm always happy to do, you know, bits of information on TikTok or Facebook around coaching and parenting and everything else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been awesome to have you on Interview with an Evolver. Have a beautiful day. Thanks, Nic.
Bye.
Bye.